crazy time. Just, mate, it was life was like everyone else, freaking out for the first 3 months. Yeah.
Yep.
And then, mate, and then we come good, you know.
Yeah, mate.
So, you know, people are realizing the goods that we can do, and you know, and the nice things that were happening, and all that sort of stuff. But we put a heap of work into the development and of programming. So it was just a matter of time. So, but all good. And then just training,
good,
and then the ride took off.
Mate, you did an outstanding job there. Like, no doubt we'll get to talk about it on this call, but just an outstanding job. Must be blown away.
Yeah. It was huge, mate. It was I was overwhelmed by the whole experience.
Yeah.
A bit. Purely on the fact of, mate, when we first put it out there, I was thinking, there'd be 150, mate, maximum people. All right. And we did that in bloody an hour, you know,
mate. It's what did you land on? Where did you land? What sort of figure?
600.
600 people.
600 people.
Yeah.
600 people. So we had about 30 internationals. Yeah.
That's cool.
Which is awesome. And then we also had the fundraising. And the fundraising has just gone berserk. Like we always equate it usually to about 400, average of 400 a person. It's just a thing that I don't know how I work it out, but it's average what we do.
Yep.
Considering the like the minimum target. Yeah.
Yep.
So going through that, and then we're like, okay, sweet as, and then because we knew the expenses were going to be so much, we wanted to make it accessible. We want people to get involved, not be hindered by, oh man, got to raise $400, you know. Knowing that there'll be people that just got to it, but then there'll be people that just blew it out of the water.
Yep.
So it's
it's awesome, mate. Cool. It's awesome.
It was really cool. And just to
mate, what sort of guidance do you generally give people before these, noting the few minutes?
Nothing.
All right.
Just rock.
I love it. Raw, and just
rock it out. No, mate, we will talk about obviously your world, yeah. In terms of obviously Jay and your dad. Yep. And then on top of that, obviously how it affected the family, and then talk about JRC.
Yep.
JRC. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what you've got. So do that, and then what else are we going to talk about? The ride. Talk about the Left Behind video.
Yep.
Talk about what you do, what you're finding, because obviously you're a big man of the community. You're a big man, and talk about your Hall of Fame career.
Finished off at the third. Won the goal kicking competition as a backman. Yeah, good.
Perfect.
Oh, well, that's all I can't have a comeback.
Yeah, perfect. Well, why not? You know.
Yeah, that's cool, mate. Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm, and thank you. Like, I'm really humbled. I'm humbled and honoured to be asked. You know.
No. I thought, because the guys we were looking, going, where can we get that? And then I knew you were doing the ride, and then I knew you were doing. Because we had Left Behind, and I like, well, someone's corporate gone back into the big world.
Yeah.
Transitioned into a new job.
Yeah, mate, and made the call to leave somewhere after 18 years. I met my boss for the first time last week. It was nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's all about that. Like, what's how that works. Do you know what I mean? Because this is a big fear for a lot of people going into the work. And then obviously how you're coping and how you cope through that. Boy from the west, rocking his thing, mate.
Just a little Footscray boy, mate. That's all.
Footscray or Maidstone? What are you rocking?
Yeah, Maidstone. Yeah, Maidstone. All schooling at Footscray.
Yeah,
I like Footscray. It just gives a bit of a hardness to it. No one knows Maidstone.
This is very true. I'm just trying to link it back onto Facebook, mate.
Mate, you do what you need to do.
2 seconds. I was just technologically savvy as a pencil, my friend. It's not.
Mate, nothing beats the pencil or the pen.
Nothing beats the pencil. But I didn't get my pen license until I was about 23.
Mate, I never got my pen license.
No,
fucking
bullshit.
cuts me up to D. Mate, bullshit. You should see my writing. It's fucking horrible.
There's a good reason why that's behind. So, it's how you been going?
Yeah, good, mate. We're mate, for us, and I'll talk about it. It's just been about perspective and gratitude. You know, I talked to the kids about. We started riding with Hutto and go, mate. People live under that bridge under Westgate. You know, so you know we've been talking a lot about that. But no, we're good, mate. We're doing well. We're trying to be active. We know when we do stuff together. We know when we do stuff on our own and give ourselves a break. So it's good.
Yeah, that's right. And you talk about obviously family, king, queen, princess, the whole thing, and how important that's been. Obviously, you talk about perspective and gratitude, and obviously that time being able to be spent with them.
Yeah,
over this COVID period would have been.
100%. I'll never get a period like that again in my life where I can put them to bed every night. You know, be there in the morning. So definitely like that.
That's awesome. It's awesome. All right, mate. Let's rock.
Let's roll it.
Don't watch Facebook on it. Yeah.
Oh no, everything else is turned off.
Okay, yeah, just because there's a better 5-second lag.
Yeah. No,
so it looks silly. Hey, pal. We're pumping right, and here we are, and I've got the greatest of greats here with me on a Monday night. Obviously, we've had a couple of weeks of guests free that we have brought back with such gusto, courage, such charisma. One of the greatest blokes you'll ever meet, a guy called Brad Clucas, who I'll introduce you to in a second. Just give you a quick update as to where we've been at. That's at Love Me, Love You. Obviously, it's been a couple of weeks now since the finish of our Ride With Me event, which we are just about to tick over $320,000 in fundraising from the 600 participants. So, and I said it the whole time, the response has been amazing from all involved, from the participants to all the support crews that have been, getting involved and getting behind all the people that were riding, from the people that donated. To have that many there, it's an unbelievable, humbling experience for us all at Love Me, Love You. And also the sponsors, obviously we had our Miller Leaf, our guys at Miller Leaf recruiting, and our the big dogs, who at Bunnings, who we're greatly appreciative of their support on a continual basis over the last 3 to 4 years. So it's but everyone's going all right. There's a lot of development work, the presentations, obviously leading into Christmas. Which is an interesting time for us all, and in terms of working through this post-ish COVID period that we're going to talk about in a second as well with Brad. But obviously leading into Christmas is a high level of stress that comes involved with all families, friends, social networks, and obviously into the workplace. So please, everyone just take care. Just slow yourselves down, as we keep saying about, and make sure that we're staying on top of it, connecting with the right people, and getting that sort of those social connections that we've all been missing over this last sort of 6 to 7 to 8 months, with everyone involved, and make sure that we're all okay. So it's all good there, and looking forward to it. But we are moving to move forward with Brad, who is been a friend of mine for a good solid 10 or plus years, and it's just mainly from watching him being a future Hall of Fame local footballer down at the Marby Footy Club, where it's just been noted to me that Brad won a was leading goal kicker from the back line in the Marby twos there, mate. So
threes.
Marby threes. Oh, even
that
better.
Was it. That's what I threw it in.
That's an even better award to win. So awesome, mates. And how you going?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Lance. Going really well. Stoked, thrilled, and really honoured to be on your show today. And I was quietly hoping one day I'd get asked because I'm an advocate and of what you do. I admire it. You and the team, I must call out. But yeah, going really well. Just really excited for tonight.
It's mate, and people will. It's the fact that you're humbled, mate. As I said, you're one of the most charismatic and gentlemanly men that I've ever met. So to have you on is more our experience than yours. But mate, the real connection came back with us from the Left Behind video that many people have seen, and I think it's been close to. And I'm going to get this wrong, but it's between 700,000 to 800,000 views. That video alone that we've done, that we completed 2 years ago, in light to create some more awareness around the suicide prevention and the work that we do, and to have that many views across Facebook and YouTube and all the different channels, you know, and the comments that I get, the impact that video has on people. And in even myself, like I've watched it 50 times of those 700 to 800,000 views, and I still bring a tear to my eye. That very experience, mate. How did that feel for you as an individual, and obviously as a family, because you lost your brother and your father, so Paul and Jay, to suicide. How was that experience for you there?
Yeah, so being asked to complete the video was something, you know, I really wanted to do. You know, I think I've heard you say, and I've said it before, no family should ever have to experience what it's like to go through losing someone to suicide, and someone so close. Dad took his life. It was about 10 days before my 7th birthday. Coincidentally, my son, not that long ago, last month, turned 7. And I remember I'd had it marked down to think about, you know, that would be me leaving him now at his age. And Jay, unfortunately, you know, I think he's come up around 4 years now, and same age as, pretty much similar age as Dad. So, you know, the percentage of people that have gone through it, had to deal with suicide with one member, you know, let alone having to do it with two, you know, was extremely tough. But you know, it is about getting out there and talking about it. It is about all the things, you know, love me, love you, just raise a conversation, you know, just speak to people. Are you okay? All of those things about removing the stigma and letting people know that we need them here. So similar to you, I've watched it many times. You know, I think I was probably just in a corporate zone there, the way I was talking, like, but it definitely pulls at the heartstrings when I watch it. You know, and it's just meant to tell, you know, hopefully if one person watches that are thinking horrible thoughts and then they choose to go down the other path, then we've done that job, right? And that's why I wanted to do it. And luckily I'd had the opportunity through work and a few other avenues as well to share my story and my family's story.
Yeah. And that was, I think you're talking about at least one person, mate. I guarantee you, not you. This is the Kilo Downs boy coming out of me. It's that the impact that it's had on a number of people, and the change that it has had on people's outcomes, we're going to say, okay, in terms of how they've dealt with certain situations or being down that dark road that we keep talking about. That it has changed their perception and their concept of what they're going to do, from that very connection of that idea that we keep talking about. As you said, to have one person to go through it, but to have multiple people in one family experience this, you know, it is a devastating experience that, you know, but and I do say, and without sort of passing over it, that the impact that that's had on your life, how do you see that as turned? Because you're a man of the community, you're a man of the people, you are a huge family man. How do you think that has maybe positively impacted your life?
Yeah,
and
it's
how
a
you
really
carry
good
yourself
question.
through now?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So, because you'll see behind me. So my grandfather Basil Clucas, or Pampa as we call him. He turned 101 this year. My father on the left, who was in the Navy, behind me. So Dad was in the Navy as a Vietnam vet, and after we lost him, not that long after, we were taken in by Legacy. So Legacy, a not-for-profit organisation that care for the dependents of those that have lost their more at that time was fathers that have served either during or after, and so again 6-7 years old, at a whirlwind, all of a sudden it felt like a year later we were on a camp with a bunch full of Legacy kids, about 130, not realising, and I just thought it was a camp. So Legacy, it wasn't until many years later that we finally realised we were all there for the same reason. We'd lost a parent. And again, as I say, back then, it was a father more often than not. So, we grew up with that support, and Mum had that support as well. My brother Jay and my sister Muling, and we had fantastic opportunities there, to the point where we eventually, both my sister and I at times became junior legatees and were president of the youth group, where we ran and facilitated camps. So the leadership aspect of it, the communication style, the putting your arm around someone when they realise, when it clicks for them, that they've just realised why they go to those camps. So Legacy growing up throughout all of my years, my teenage years, my in the early and mid 20s was critically important to the person I've turned into today. And then obviously, lately, and probably even before Jay, we started to just change tact into just the awareness of what, how lucky we are in this country, how lucky we are growing up. And, I do work with some of the other charities as well. I take my leadership team out one Friday night and said, we're actually going to feed the homeless with a group called Anonymous X, right? And it's pretty, we have to sign a waiver, and about if there was injury or anything like that, probably was against the rules of my corporate employer at the time. But it just meant that, you give up one Friday night drinks to go and see and realise and appreciate what we go home to every night, roof over our head, hot water. But if I think about how that's made me now, I think it's made me appreciate those around me. It's made me appreciate and look out for and care for those who I know and who I don't know. I try and do one little thing every day that will help someone else. I love seeing Hudson when he gets in. We've taught him how to. He runs to the elevator when we're getting the lift somewhere, but he runs and he holds it open and he waits for everyone to go, and just the values and the manners and all that. So we just trying to we just want to be good people, mate. We just want to be good people.
Yeah, and that obviously displaying those values through to your kids, mate. It's holding that in high regard. The respect of our situations, the opportunities that we have to be a part of this amazing world, as challenging and as tricky as it is, to be a part of it. How do you carry those values through to your kids? Because obviously, as you said, you're a big corporate man, and you left the job at NAB after 18 years, which is a huge, fearful experience in itself. So you start a new job, and it was at the start of COVID. Is that right?
3 months ago, actually, probably
3 months ago. So in the midst of COVID, and you just met your boss the first time in person last week or during the week, and then obviously that time of being in the family, and then going away from that again because you can't spend as much time in the family because we're going back to work as such. How are you experiencing that, and how's the family experienced that through these last sort of few months?
Yeah, it's like everyone, it's been extremely difficult at times. There's been a lot of positives, and it's been extremely difficult. The difficulty is we're close with our family. We're extremely fortunate. We have two sets of loving grandparents that adore our kids, and we are, best mates with them. We unfortunately, my wife Christy, her brother, lives in the States, so we don't get to see them as much as what we want. But I love seeing my kids, Hudson and Taylor, with my sister's kids, Mac and Bodie, and just being cousins, because that's what I remember growing up. So that was tough. not to do that. We only just got back to the country to Hamilton, where Christy's folks live, on the weekend, so we had a great time up there. Caught up with Jimmy Sauce MacArthur, so it was great to see him as well. One of your army, and
correct, yeah.
So and we missed that. We really missed it. At the same time, before COVID hit, I was probably on a plane once a fortnight. Anywhere from one night to 3 to 5, in conferences. And Christy, my wife, works full time. We got 2 kids, and extremely difficult. And so, at times so I will never get back the 6 months where I can put them to bed every night and I can be there in the morning. Like, this period now has been that. At the same time, we also felt really frustrated ourselves, and we got down a lot of times because we felt like, especially homeschooling Hudson, we were trying to homeschool him, and he was at times not getting the best of us. And again, we're not different to everyone's got a story, right? You know that. So it was just our story of how we tried to balance that out. We knew when we looked to do things as a family, we got some bikes and we started doing some rides together. We also knew when we needed to break up the family and have some time apart as well. The job opportunity came up. It was like, why not? It's just a job. I'm at a stage now where I just want something where I feel a sense of worth, and I enjoy what I do. And if anything, COVID's taught us that we can adapt to this. I don't have to be on a plane every fortnight anymore. And so we can get around it because we have. So that's probably the last few months.
Yeah, and you're saying about those, you're never going to get these 6 months back, and the impact that it's had on us, whether it's been good or bad. And some people have coped really well and understood the challenge that it was, but have actually really adapted to it really, really well, and understood what the life was like. But you see, creating that time to be, as opposed to being, sort of thing, just to be around, said those experiences of putting your kids to bed, waking up and having breakfast without being on the phone, those sorts of things. And you said the other opportunity about the bike ride. I think that if there's one business, one sector in this that has benefited more than anyone in this COVID period, it has been the bike industry. I know, absolutely, mate. And obviously, you did the ride with me a couple of weeks ago with the fams and pumped it up, mate. And it was great to see that head in a helmet should never be done again, because it can't be hiding those good looks. But as you said, just that very experience of riding a bike and doing those things that we had once taken for granted, that we do now, that we obviously we talked about before off screen, about gratitude and perspective, and what that's put into you as a family, and with also your friends and your social network.
Yeah, and the bike ride was amazing. And again, I know I did it before, but I congratulate you, mate, because 600 people and like 600 people. My tip, that's going to double next year. Right, so people are listening. Get ready for it when it comes out. It's going to double, 30 nationals and over 320k race. Like, that's outstanding. For me, I just got a little mountain bike with Huddy. When for us to start riding, it's not a road bike. So when Christy, my wife, signed me up, it was like, all right, let's do this. And to do it, to join your army and play a part, and to do it at times similar to what I mentioned. Some rides with the group, we had an amazing team, Christy and Leanne. And then there were really good times where I loved it, getting out on my own at, just before 6 and just being on my own with no one really around. We've got a good little track that goes up from where we live in sort of Newport up to Sanctuary Lakes, and you get a lot of alone time and space. And, just felt that Dad and Jay were sort of on the shoulders, just, steering me on. Even if it hurt, it hurt, It was about pushing through. So I just loved every bit of it.
Yeah, and you said that very experience, and I do this when we talk about it a lot, and I did it from the very first walk that we did back in 2014. That very experience you talked about there, with having that feeling of Jay and Dad on your shoulders, watching you through, because that energy never leaves you. And I said it from the first walk, about your reason why. You know, the reason why you do something, and the reason why you get out of bed, the reason why you go to sleep at night, the reason why you work your bum off in your job of choice, the reason why you push yourself through the hard yards physically through the work you do, the reason why you do anything, and attaching yourself to those very reasons why, so that, and usually comes from a dark place. You know what I mean? In terms of finding those motivations, you find it and I say it, from the darkest of places, you find the brightest of lights.
Yep.
Those motivations are what drives you moving forward. Same thing for me. Like, my motivation is to not be where I was 10 years ago. That is my motivation. And when you want to create it from darkness, when you want to create it from fear, or however you go about it, we need to attach ourselves to the reason why, because when those times do get hard, which we all go through it, even the most successful people in this world have their dark places. As you said, but attaching ourselves to those, that very reason why. And obviously for you guys in the Clucas family, there's no greater reason why you would push yourself and make a positive impact on this world.
Yep. And mate, I can guarantee you, going through mid to late teens, I had some extremely difficult times, and you know, again, a lot of people do. And I think that's the other part of why you do that. Not only what you've experienced, but you think back to times where you've really struggled and gone through periods of time that are black, right? That are a haze, or a memory you just can't recall. And you know, I've had that for various reasons throughout growing up as well. So this help me, right? It helps me help others, but also myself with that.
Yeah. And you lead that through yourself, Mei-Ling, the beautiful Mei-Ling, who did our Welfare Warrior course a couple of months ago now, and was the absolute light of the program. That beautiful soul. You do run an awareness organisation called JRC in memory of your brother, and actually your dad. How does that feel to do that, to be a part of it? Obviously, the breaking down the stigmas is the greatest part of it. And where can we find out more information? How does it make you feel when you're a part of that situation?
Yeah, I think so firstly, so JRC is Jay's initials, J Raymond Clucas. It also, you know, the masterminds behind it, Mei-Ling and Tim Cohen especially, came up with it. It also stands for Just Raise the Conversation. So, you know, they have done it all. You know, where I've had the opportunity to do, such as you ride and get behind the brand and the name, that's what I've looked to do. They do awesome stuff in terms of, you know, there's a greater awareness amongst, you know, especially Jay's group and his extended group of friends, in terms of talking to each other, and that's obviously grown. You know, they're obviously, whatever they raise goes back into a Beyond Blue. They sponsored me for the ride, the Love Me Love You ride. And I really love some of the kit, mate. Some of the apparel and the kit they've got, which we love. I get around. I can't find my favorite trucker hat, so I've got to get another one, mate. I just think it's another thing.
Oh no.
it's just another thing that we can do to help out. It's, you know, and you know, again, Tim and Mei-Ling lead and drive and do all that work. I, on the odd chance, have an occasion to do something I'm more around the physical aspect. It sounds bad, but to put myself through mental and physical strain where it hurts, be it Love Me Love You ride, the walk, Oxfam, which we've done a couple of times, centered around mental health. You know, if it's hurting, I get myself through it by saying others are feeling the same thing. So just, you can do this, you can push through it. But I'm proud that JRC is standing up, and they've been doing it for years now, and I thank all of the people heavily involved, and you know, getting the reason out there. Just raise a conversation, right? Similar with Love Me Love You.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and very much normalising that very conversation is what we're trying to do, and obviously it's come a long way in the last 10 years, or since we all started 7 years ago in a similar position. So that to go through that experience of what we're doing now, and to have these very conversations, and just to think that we can openly, normally talk about this, and it be okay.
Yeah.
Brad, is from even a couple of years ago, we would never have thought to be doing something like this on this sort of platform, and to have people genuinely connect to the messaging we're trying to get out there, which is, hats off to everyone involved, because as you said, from the small organisations to the larger organisations, everyone's playing their role, and however you connect into that conversation, that is up to you. Hopefully, as I said, just raise that conversation, and be a part of it. Don't be afraid of it. We're all in this together, and we can't fight this alone, as we all know. So.
Yep, and we by doing things like this, and it's interesting. I don't know if he has, but the little boy's obviously heard, and he sort of snuck up there and having a bit of a watch. He might have gone back to bed, but if we are doing, and you'll be the same, right, with your little ones. If we do this, when the time comes when they're going through a difficult period as young teenagers, young men, young women, if I think about my daughter as well, I want them to have a good group and network around them, and a great relationship with us, where they can talk about where they're at and how they're feeling. That'll come probably at one stage,
Yeah, and it will. That's the numbers. That's the world. That's the world we're living in. You would have thought the culture around our society 15 years ago, when we were in our 20s, Brad, or you might have been still in your teenage years back then, because you're only 30, aren't you, mate? But from what there was to obviously the teenage experience now. And it's actually quite scary to think about what it would be like in another 15 to 10 years' time when our kids are at that age.
100%, mate.
And it is a great fear. And I have a lot of these conversations with a lot of parents about that, and the great fears of not knowing and not being able to be a part of those types of conversations, and being a part of that environment where their kids feel like they are trusting enough to have that conversation with their parents. How you live that memory of obviously your dad and Jay in through your kids, and obviously your nieces and nephews, to be able to tell that story.
Yeah, and there's so it's interesting, right? Because we didn't necessarily go to bed, mate. You say, back when we lost Dad, it was a stigma, and you didn't talk about it, and we didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't have photos really of Dad in the house, and we didn't really talk about it much, and everyone just got on with life. Granted, like Mum had 3 kids under 9, right? She was a superhero, had to do it on her own as well, and luckily enough, married an amazing man who assumed the role as Dad, and he's outstanding, and I love him to death as well. But so for us, talking about, so what we're doing differently with Jay is we are talking about it, and we are getting out there and ensure we sought the appropriate help, professionally as well, and as in situations like this. So we're we're learning about, as we progress as a community, and us learning about what we can do better, and that was, we need to be open about it. At the same time, the time will come, we will choose, my wife and I will choose the right time to talk about Dad and Jay in more detail with Hudson and Taylor when they're old enough, and we'll talk to them about that. But at the moment, it's Uncle Jay and Pampa as well. So that's what we want to do. And again, just we're already talking about, you can tell us anything. You let us know how you're feeling. You talk to us about where you're at. How's your heart feel? We're doing that now, which is great. And the connection with the kids, Hudson's Taylor's still a bit younger, but the connection with the kids is just growing, getting stronger by the minute by doing that.
Yeah, and you said, and the same thing, we do that around understanding, is simplifying the very values around it. around these types of conversations with the kids. Like I even tell Alexander, he shouts out from the top of his lungs sometimes, "Love me, love you." He loves it. Like he loves what we do, understands what it's about. And you said about sharing and understanding the experience that you've been through, and sharing it with the right knowledge at the right time for them. You know, to Alexander, for me, like he knows that Daddy was once very sad inside for a long time of his life, but now what I'm able to do, I'm able to feel better because I talk about it. That's very simple. It's as simple as we take it with him, and he knows that. And so, what do we do at Love Me, Love You? You make people feel better. How? Just to help them talk. That's what we do. And that's, I think, is the general idea about what we're all trying to be a part of, this this very idea and this movement for all involved. It's because they are our future, but and I've said this before about my parents and about being the bumper rails, Brad, and having that. We're not there to bowl the ball down the lane for them, but we're there just to make sure that they're being guided on the right path through conversation, through experiences, obviously through aligning those values and understand that it's okay not to be okay. Yeah, yep. They're allowed to be sad. They're allowed to feel crap. They're allowed to feel these emotions and experiences all the time, and work. But it's not okay not to do anything about it. And this is what we tell with Alexander. You're allowed to cry, mate. You're allowed to feel sad. It's okay. But you're allowed to tell us as well, because if you don't talk to us, we don't know. We're not mind readers. So I think that experience there. But you, as I said, growing up, how did that experience at school? Because that was right in the middle, sort of your secondary school years. How did the rest of your network embrace that, or feel, or experience that with you?
Yeah, so through with Dad, it was through primary school prep. So that was a bit, again, it felt like after everything happened, the next day was the funeral, which was really weird. Again, it's a bit of a blur, but it just under 7. I had a great support network around me at school. Primary school, high school. I still have, as you get older, your group of friends becomes solidified more of your core group. And I've got, school friends that I still see and love and hang out, which is really cool. And we were hanging around since we were like grade 9, right? So I guess as a young kid, I just threw everything into sport, cricket, baseball, basketball, football, whatever it was. I think playing sort of 6 days a week at whatever I could get my hands on that had ball. I did a lot of that because we didn't go through a lot of stuff at the back end of being at Legacy and assuming the role of a leader where, I saw quite young, 22, 23, even started going on camps at 19 as a leader. I saw kids who were in their young teens, 11, 12, 13, and they were, you talk about guardrails. There were times you had to sit them aside and put your arm around them, or you had to sit them aside and grab them by the shoulders and go, hey, there's a lot of good stuff out there to live for. And that was again, a privilege and an opportunity. And for me, I saw early on in the piece, it was a chance for me to help others and a chance for me to support others as well. Because it was interesting once they clicked the reason why they were surrounded by a heap of other people also without a parent. You see them go through different stages as young adults. So, I saw that as an opportunity and almost an obligation for me to support and help them, because I had been supported and helped throughout that period, as Jay Milling would have as well, throughout Legacy, who were a great support to our family and many other families nationally. And now it's any opportunity. It's any opportunity to, I often say I don't care what Hudson and Taylor grow up to do for work. I just want them to be good people and enjoy what they do. So that's how it's sort of gone. That's how it is now, where it's come from.
And that's in a beautiful world A lot more people would be able to take that, as you said, not what they do, but maybe how they do, in terms of how they attach themselves to being great people. That very experience of doing things. You talk about that random acts of kindness that you do. Trying to be that one little kind thing every single day. What is that one thing that has maybe surprised you? We talk about that random act of kindness, and putting you on the spot here, Brad. But that one thing that you thought that was just a little thing that I did, but the impact that it had on someone, it would be like, wow. Do you know what I'm saying here?
Yeah,
It might have been a simple opening of the door for somebody, and then that person's just, you've made their day, or you've changed their actual demeanor.
Yeah. I often find that, at times, the example, right? So today, it's interesting. Today, ordering coffee online and got really great service. And in this world, we are too quick to just go whack. Food was crap. That person didn't do this. They cut me off. It's not hard to actually say to someone, you know what, you've been really brilliant. Thanks so much for helping me. Yeah. So if I have an opportunity to finish off a conversation like that or an interaction like that because someone has helped me, I let them know. That's not hard. So as an example of doing that, where you go, that could be the difference. That person I speak to on the phone or over the other side of the counter, by me doing that, could just make the shit that they're dealing with from first thing in the morning or last night just that little bit better. They could be feeling a little bit better. So that opportunity to do that, recognize or help or support. And I'm big on people believe what you do, not what you say. So if my kids see me doing that, hopefully they'll adopt it.
Yeah, most definitely. They are such a sponge of those experience. As you said, that you can say things and we all do it. We can say things till we're blue in the face with our kids or our youth that are in our connection, but doing it and being it and just doing it because, and as I said with Alexander when he did the ride. So Alexander's 5, did the ride as well. And I said to him, I go, we're not doing this because we have to. We're doing this because we can. Yeah. And I think it's getting into that sort of mindset around it is we can do it. You can be nice. You can be kind. You can be loving. You can be careful. But you can feel like crap as well. Yeah.
Yep.
We're not doing it because we have to. We're doing it just generally because we can, and we want to be a part of that very experience, and making sure, as you said, that it's being instilled like it was for you growing up. Obviously, as you said, mum having to have the 3 of you under 9. The hard work and the love and the empathy and care that your mum would have obviously portrayed to the 3 of you. Has obviously reflected into a big part of what you're about today.
Oh yeah, definitely. And don't get me wrong, right? There are days you feel angry and crap, and I've no doubt there were days that we messed up with mum, and we got what we deserved, right? We got a whack, and that put us in line.
Not now.
And the same the same with Paulie coming across, right? So Dad was a Paul, and my stepfather is also Dad is a Paul. So with him coming in and just made it easier, mate. But assuming that role and taking on 3 kids and loving them as if they were his own, many years apart, is such a courageous effort, and I admire him for that, and will always admire him for that. So, and we never missed a beat with any of that stuff with mum and the 3 of us. Like it felt like I never missed a training session, a footy match, a cricket match. And my sister was into her marching, and Jay was into his skating and blading and all that stuff that I couldn't do because it was too cool, and I wasn't. And we got to all that stuff, so it was, just amazing looking back at how they did that. Really, again, we're really privileged that they're here and they're part of our lives, and nothing makes me more happier than seeing both of our parents with our kids. It's fair call to say, however, my mum is significantly less harder on my kids than what she was on me, because if I didn't eat dinner, I stayed at the table for 3 hours and that was it. Whereas if mine don't, they get their choice.
Do you still want dessert? Yep, sweet as. Let's do this.
Yeah,
and it's quite bizarre how it's the same thing. I mean, we were like that.
I love it though.
The same thing growing up, and seeing that grandparent time with your kids is, for me, it's one of those warm fuzzy feelings being a part of it. So we're very lucky that my boys have two sets of very loving grandparents doing amazing things and sharing all their great experiences and doing all those great, beautiful things that they can do, but leading the way. It's the same thing with the love and care, and obviously with work ethic and everything that comes with it. So it's and working through them. So, mate, it's what was your target for the ride? Where did you get to? How many Ks are we talking?
Well, actually, it was a great conversation with my wife and I that we never had, because she registered me and then told me about it. So because we're not a rider, we don't ride, right? I mean, I was BMX around Maidstone and Footscray going up, and I think the most I'd ridden might have been 20 K. So. So we signed up. It seems really embarrassing, right? Because there were dudes doing what we were doing almost in 4 days in a day. So we signed up for 200 Ks, 50 Ks a day, cool. And so that on my little basic mountain bike, just get out there and just, as my daughter says, just pedal, just keep pedaling. Again, times put the
just like riding a bike,
just like riding the bike, and mate, it was good fun.
Just like riding a bike. Yeah,
it was crappy on a couple of days where it was, the wind was up and all that. But
windy.
The times where it hurt, I don't know. It's a weird thing. When I'm doing something physical for something like Love Me, Love You, where I'm hurting, I love it. It sounds really weird.
Gives you a greater connection.
Yeah, and appreciation.
Does that mean you sign up? Does that mean you sign up for the 45K next year, the walk?
Is it only 45?
I think we've scaled it right back. We have scaled it right back to make it more accessible, so that you don't complain for the last 15 kilometres.
Yeah. Mate, 45, I will be there, and I will look to get a crew of us with us. Just on the walk, mate. So we walked with one of my best mates and my wife, one of my best mates, Brian. We did 15 Ks, and it was, early into the piece, he was struggling, like early into the piece. And it took us a while to complete it, but we got there and we got him through it. And I reckon that's one of his biggest achievements. So, Briz, if you're listening, mate, get prepped, because we're up for 45 next year. And a few of the boys.
Big Ryan, mate. He not quite
you
built
guys
for
going around at East Kilo?
Those Kilo days back in the hood, mate. He was he was the man. He was rocking it, most definitely. He but probably not. He needs to get he needs to get a few training sessions in. Big Bryce, I reckon, mate. Just before,
but he'll be in for it. He'll be in for it.
Got till next March, mate. So be middle of March. So on that, it's we are sort of planning. I think it's the 7th or the 14th of March to be able to relaunch our March with Me event for next year, which we're all very excited about. Obviously not being able to do it this year, having to call the event off the week before the event because of COVID restrictions was the thing. It's just an absolute lifetime ago that happened. And then obviously to see then the response that we had for the ride. But we are looking, so please stay tuned, everyone, for details. We hope to release more information in the next couple of weeks about dates and information, and also the people that registered for this year, all the fundraising that also went on, and how that will carry over for 2021, knowing that we're still having to work out COVID guidelines for this event, because we're still waiting on Dan the Man to allow us to do this as well, so we're not just like, we're finished, we're over COVID, let's go do the walk, we get a couple of thousand people and happy days. There's a bit more to it, so we're getting more information as we speak, so it's and we're looking forward to getting back involved with that, which will be a huge March period for us at Love Me Love You, Brad. This is one that might be up your alley as well. As I said, it's been mentioned a few times that I'll be doing an Everest, which we're planning for the last weekend of February or the first weekend of March. We're not too sure what that is yet. So that might be your event as well. We have to cycle up the equivalent of Mount Everest. Brad, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think that'll be all you, big fella. I'll be there with the waters at base camp.
Yeah.
The bike's in retirement. It comes out when I take Hutto to school and back more often than not.
Perfect.
But mate,
Perfect.
I'm in. I just love what you're doing at Love Me Love You. The crew behind you, it's such an awesome crew, mate. So when you guys are doing something, I'm with you. I'm part of that army, mate.
And we do appreciate that. As I said, you jumped at obviously the opportunity that we did talk about, the Left Behind video, which we did 2 years ago. But everything we do, invite, ask, mate, you're the first there to jump at it and be a part of it. So we do appreciate your support. We do talk about the team at Love Me Love You. And I am very thankful for Alison, Jimmy, Kate and Neve and the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes to do what we do at Love Me Love You, and obviously the board of the foundation is obviously huge support in making things happen for what we're doing. So and just for everyone to get involved. And it does get me a little bit, Brad. Like, and I do have to sometimes step back to just the experience, just to be in the experience of what we do at Love Me Love You, because it's it's been 7 years since we were founded, but just sitting back and to see the impact and the positive conversations and the difference that the people that are a part of Love Me Love You are making, it is a very humbling experience. And as you said, from the very words that you've said tonight about us as an organisation and what we're doing and the people involved, it's hats off to everybody, because everybody's playing their role and everyone's doing an amazing job. Everyone's doing an amazing job, and you probably would have said that in your leading goal kicker speech back in the when you won it for the thirds. That you just got to play your role, mate. And as long as
such a hypocrite, such a hypocrite.
As long as you play your role, we're all gonna go okay.
I'll tell you what it was. I grew up playing all my junior footy at Spotswood in the West, and then I stumbled across at Marby Park, and I thought I'll play here for a few years, and then go back and finish up at Spotty. And it was just a ripping club with ripping guys that I love and have great friendships with, and to finish off playing with them, I couldn't have asked for a better finish off of the career. And jagged a couple of snags here and there when I could.
A couple of snags during the game and after the game, I would have thought, mate. It's but it was but as I said, the connection that which has been a big one that everyone's missed this year as well. Obviously, with sport going down, sports clubs not being had, because that is the very escape for a lot of people. Obviously not just from being able to play, but obviously the social connection and obviously the impact that it has on their mental health is the reason why we play. It was obviously the reason why we're a part of a club. To all those volunteers as well. And all the people that get involved at sports clubs to be able to make them run. Hats off to you all, because the next 6 months is going to be an absolute. I'm going to call it. It's going to be an absolute shit fight to get going again. And the conversations that we have. So if anyone at any sports club is in any need of help, please reach out to us at Love Me Love You. There's opportunities that we're talking about, education support, some peer-to-peer support training, whatever it is that we can help you with at your club. Please contact us, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to help. So hats off to you, and good luck with all of that. But Bradley, I do appreciate your time, mate. I could obviously speak to you in your charismatic voice and looks for days on end. But obviously, as I said, the impact that this type of conversation we'll have, and we see it from all the comments that have been coming through here, the amount of people and the impact that you said, your very reality, your courage, and we talk about courage and inspiration. We talk about all these amazing words, but I think it's just about being you, and I think that's what the very reality of these conversations is creating. It's just is how we can just be good people in the end. And I think it's as simple as it gets, mate. So appreciate your time. As I said, we will chuck in the JRC link in the comments because we look forward to obviously connecting more of a relationship with the JRC team in as moving forward and helping you guys out, raise even more conversations because it's just it's a good cause, obviously. That's why we're here. But good people just doing good things. So appreciate it.
Thanks, mate. Thrilled, Raps. Just love everything. I've said it to you before. I love everything what you're doing. It's interesting. You're talking to me about Alexander. He's looking at you saying, Daddy used to be sad. He's happy now. But you know what? He's looking at you like Superman, right? Cape on. You are his superhero. All right. So everything you're doing, mate, keep it up. I love it. Yeah, put us on the same. But thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Just to be a part, and I look forward to being a part of many more love me, love you opportunities in the future.
Beautiful. Appreciate it, Brad. Say good day to the family, mate. And as I said, utmost respect. You're an absolute champion. Cheers, legend.
Thanks, mate.
Speak to you. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. And I think that's it, mate.
You're out.
Oh, let me just check. Hold on. Still going live. I'm just going to shut it off altogether. And then, yep. No. Oh, there we go. We're going to end now. I'll just say Lance Pacini, technical difficulties, and bang. We're back. I couldn't find the button.
Awesome work, mate. Well done.
Oh, what a dickhead. Oh, fuck, I need a whole lot, man.
Mate, where's the first, when you can go on a break, where are you taking the family?
Mate, we're just going down to Mum and Dad's. Yeah.
Where's that?
Mum and Dad live in place called Swan Reach, which is about 15 minutes before Lake's entrance.
Oh, nice, beautiful.
Yeah, just down there. So it's about a 4-hour drive.
Yep.
So we'll just head down there.
Yep.
They got a couple of acres. Their farm, their property backs onto a cattle farm, which backs onto the forest, and awesome. We don't have to move. It's mate, we'll just get down there and just chill out with Mum and Dad. I've seen them a couple of times. Over the last sort of 7 to 8 months. But it'd be nice just to sit for longer than 12 hours, with them. So do that, and that's about it. It's we'll probably head out a couple of weeks over Christmas.
Yeah,
and,
mate, that'll be gorgeous. My grandparents used to live in Bairnsdale, so we'd go down to lakes and down near there. Such a gorgeous spot, mate. Loved it.
Best. It's the best down there, and the world changes. Mate, as soon as you sort of get through, you get Trafalgar. As soon as you get through Trafalgar, sort of thing, just see you later. And I was walking along the other day, and I was just like, because I had to go there for a 24-hour trip the other day, and I was walking through, and it's just like, oh, it smells clean.
This country smells beautiful.
So, and I'm looking forward to it and just cruising. Man, I've got a heap of riding to do. I've got so much training to do for this ride. It's I've got about 20 to 25 hours a week of training that I've got to do. So it's just a lot of early mornings. So I'm up at like 3:30 in the morning. Yeah. Sort of doing 3-4 hour rides in the morning, which is just a stupid time to do anything.
But mate, you're getting your routine, and that's your time, right? That's
yeah. As you keep talking about, it's and I do. Mate, most of it I do it in here in the garage. I've got my trainer, but now I've got to get out on the road and it's a different fit. So, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it because it just means that I get to eat more donuts, and it's all like, and it'll be okay because I burnt 5,000 calories for the day, and I'm all good, so I can eat a donut. So,
you can eat what you want, and mate, if there's ever in the future, if you ever need support or opportunity from a board perspective. I'm here to help, mate. I'd put my hand up to help with any of that and donate whatever time and effort needs to be in. Whenever that happens, mate, as well, I'm behind you 100%.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Well, I'll chat to you because you being a businessman, I'll chat to you soon because we're starting up a new adventure side by side with Love Me Love You called the Love Me Love You Academy.
Oh wow.
Which is it's going to be so it's going to be Love Me Love You is going to be its brand on top, okay, and then there's be streams. So there'll be a social enterprise component, which will be the academy, which will be a big tech education training platform with a clinic, and we're talking about like performance centers, like hubs, like physical spaces and all that sort of stuff. And then there'll be the foundation, which will be the not-for-profit component, which will do all the community work, all the sort of support and education into schools and clubs still through the foundation as a part of the academy, but the foundation through. So, mate, business-wise and sort of juggling about 8 balls, but in the next sort of few weeks, there'll be a bit more clarity on how it all works. So, but I'll let you know. We'll have a coffee.
Yeah, mate, 100%. We can actually catch up. That'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Give you a big hug. Love it, mate. Appreciate it, legend. Say good day to the family.
I'll speak to you soon,
Thank you, legend.
Take care.
Cheers, bro. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.